Welcome back, everybody. I'm so glad you could join us for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring some practical applications of the Law of One.
Oh, this is going to be fun. It sounds like from the sources you sent me, you're interested in how we can actually apply these teachings to help create a more peaceful and loving world.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's so much talk about global harmony and, raising our vibration, but I want to know what I can actually do.
I hear you. It's one thing to talk about lofty concepts, but it's another to actually put them into practice.
Right. So I've been diving into these Law of One books, and I'm fascinated by this whole idea of connecting to intelligent infinity through meditation.
Ah, yes. The Law of One has a lot to say about that.
And I'm also curious about those energy centers, the chakras.
Mm,
How do we work with those to create more balance, not just for ourselves, but for the whole planet?
great questions. And the Law of One, for all its kind of metaphysical depth, actually provides some pretty practical tools for exactly that.
Okay, good. I'm ready for practical. So maybe we should start with the basics. Like, what does it actually mean when Ra keeps saying all is one?
Right. That's the core principle, isn't it? Imagine, I guess, that every single being, every rock, every tree, everything is a part of the same fundamental energy.
Okay. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. So if we're all connected on this deep level, then how does that change how we live our lives?
Well, think about the concept of service to others. It becomes less about selfless acts and more like serving yourself. And love, it becomes less of a feeling and more of a recognition of that unity.
Wow, yeah. That's a powerful way to think about it. And then there's all this talk about densities, right? Like Roz says that Earth is transitioning from third to fourth density.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like think of them as stages of spiritual evolution, you know? Third density is like where we are now, we're developing self-awareness. And then fourth density is all about love and understanding.
So we're graduating to a higher level of consciousness where we're, I guess, less focused on ourselves and more focused on, well, everything.
Yeah. And the question is, how do we navigate this transition? How do we move from this separation to a place of unity?
That's a good question. And it sounds like meditation is one of the keys. At least that's what I'm getting from the Law of One.
Yeah. Meditation is huge in the Law of One. They talk about it as a way to quiet the mind, which I think we can all relate to that these days, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. My mind could definitely use some
Oh,
quieting down.
yeah.
But so it's more than just like stress relief. It's actually a way to connect with this deeper reality, this all is one.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets really interesting. They describe the spirit as like a shuttle that we can use in meditation to connect to different levels of consciousness.
Hold on, a spirit shuttle. Now you're really taking us into the woo-woo.
I know, it sounds kind of crazy. But think of it as a way to explore different parts of yourself, like your higher self, or even tap into the archetypical mind.
Okay, this is a lot to take in, but it sounds, I don't know, powerful. So meditation, it's like our access point to this deeper reality and to ourselves.
Yeah, you can see that.
But how does all of this translate into actual change in the world? Like, I keep hearing about creating peace and harmony, but how do we actually do that?
Well, the law of one suggests that change starts within, like as we cultivate this inner peace, we become almost like a beacon radiating that outward.
So it's like that ripple effect. We had to smooth out the surface of the pond to see a clear reflection.
Exactly. And meditation helps us do that. And then speaking of smoothing things out, it also helps us to balance our energy centers.
Okay, yeah, the chakras. So what are those exactly? I feel like I've heard about them, but I'm not really sure what they are.
Right. The chakras, think of them as they're like swirling energy centers in your body, each associated with certain qualities and colors.
Okay. And they're all like stacked up on top of each other.
You got it. From the root chakra, which grounds us to the earth, all the way up to the crown chakra, connecting us to the cosmos.
So like each chakra has a specific function. What's the heart chakra all about, for example?
Oh, the heart chakra. That's the green ray center, according to Ra. It's about love, compassion, empathy, those key ingredients for peace and harmony.
Okay, that makes sense. So if we want to create more love and harmony in the world, we need to start by working on our heart chakras.
You got it. But here's the thing. Ra emphasizes that the heart chakra, it's actually really vulnerable. Fear, jealousy, possessiveness,
Yeah.
all those block the flow of love.
So if I'm feeling stressed or anxious, that can actually affect my ability to connect with others on a deeper level.
Exactly. And those blockages, they can manifest in other ways too. Physically, emotionally, mentally, it's all connected.
Wow, so it really is all about energy. But how do we actually work with these chakras? Is it just through meditation?
Meditation is a big one, for sure. But Ra also mentions other techniques, like working with, get this, pyramid shapes.
Like pyramids, like the ones in Egypt?
Yep, those pyramids. Rohr claims to have been involved in their construction, and they describe them as like energy funnels, amplifying and focusing light. They even suggest experimenting with small pyramids.
Okay, now that's interesting. I'm picturing little pyramids all over my house. But before we get to building pyramids, can we talk more about healing, both personal and global? Like, what are some concrete actions we can take?
Absolutely. We definitely need to delve deeper into that. And there's one more piece of the puzzle we need to explore: sexual energy transfer. It might sound a bit unexpected, but Ray has some fascinating insights on how this relates to all of this.
Okay, now you've really got my attention. Sexual energy transfer. That
Yay.
definitely sounds like uncharted territory for me.
It's worth exploring, trust me. We'll dive into all of that in the next part of our deep dive.
All right, so we left off on sexual energy transfer, and honestly, I'm still a little unsure how this fits into everything.
I get that. It's definitely a topic that can bring up all sorts of, reactions and preconceptions.
Right. But how can something so personal affect the whole world? Like, how does that work?
Well, I think it goes back to that idea of all is one that we talked about earlier. The law of one suggests that we're all energetically connected, and that includes our sexual energy.
Okay, so my energy is somehow entangled with everyone else's, even during intimate moments?
Yes, exactly. And Ross suggests that this energy is particularly potent. It's like a raw, creative force that can either be harmonized or distorted.
Okay, so then how do we make sure we're, like, harmonizing it instead of messing things up?
Well, Ross talks about a time before the veiling, which is what they call the separation of our conscious and unconscious minds. And before this veiling, they suggest that sexual energy transfer was a very natural and harmonious process.
So basically, because everyone was aware of their connection to the creator,
Hmm.
right? To that all is one.
Exactly. There was no ego or shame involved. But then the veiling happened, and it created a kind of forgetfulness, a separation.
So we forgot our true nature, and that's when all the fear and possessiveness and, all that stuff started to come in.
Right, and those distorted expressions of sexual energy like jealousy or manipulation, they create these blockages, not just within individuals, but in the collective energy field as well.
So it's not just about our personal relationships, it actually affects the whole planet.
Yes, so healing those distortions on a personal level, that's actually a huge part of global healing.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do we actually do that? How do we heal those distortions?
Well, it starts with awareness. Being mindful of your intentions and emotions during those intimate moments. Are you approaching it with love and respect, or is it coming from a place of fear or neediness?
So it's about bringing that all is one awareness into the bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also about addressing those deeper wounds, those insecurities, because they can really impact how we relate to others intimately and otherwise.
Right, so it all comes back to self-love, right? Healing ourselves so we can heal the world.
Exactly. And remember those pyramids we were talking about? Ross suggests that they can be powerful tools for amplifying energy, even on a personal level.
Oh yeah, the pyramids. So just having a small pyramid in my home could actually shift the energy in a positive direction.
That's what Ross suggests. They describe the pyramid shape as a conduit for what they call intelligent infinity.
And that's like a universal energy source.
Right, and the pyramid shape seems to amplify and focus that energy. So yeah, having a small pyramid around could definitely be helpful.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try that. And what about those other practical tips that Rob mentions? Like, are there other things we can do to raise our vibration and contribute to global healing?
Well, one of the biggest things Ra emphasizes is aligning our actions with our intentions. Because every choice we make, every thought we have, has an energetic impact.
So if I want to see more peace and love in the world, I need to, like, actually embody those qualities in my everyday life.
Exactly. Even small actions can make a difference, like offering a genuine compliment or choosing to see the good in others.
Wow, that's really powerful. So we really do have the power to change the world just by changing ourselves.
Absolutely. And speaking of change, there's another aspect of the law of one that we haven't talked about yet, and that's the idea that there are actually forces that are working against this harmonious evolution.
Oh yeah, you mentioned the Orion group before, right? Like, who are they and what are they all about?
That's a great question. And it's going to take us a little deeper into the cosmic side of the law of one.
All right, so this Orion group, they sound a bit intimidating, to be honest. Like, are they the bad guys in all of this?
Well, Ra describes them as A group of beings who've chosen a different path, a path of service to self, as opposed to the service to others that the Law of One emphasizes.
So it's like good versus evil, basically.
You could see that. It's more like love versus fear, unity versus separation. But the point is, Ross suggests that they're pretty good at manipulating energy.
Okay, so how does that work?
Yeah.
Do they, like, send out bad vibes or something?
Well, Ra explains that they often work through what we might call psychic attack, exploiting weaknesses in our energy centers, amplifying fear and negativity.
So, like, if I'm feeling really anxious or insecure, could that be the Orion group messing with me?
It's possible. But remember, Ra also emphasizes that we have free will, so we always have a choice in how we respond to those influences.
So if I can recognize those negative thoughts and feelings, maybe I can just, like, choose not to buy into them.
Exactly. And that's where practices like meditation and energy work can be really helpful. They can help us build up our defenses, create a shield of light and love.
So it's not about fighting back, but more about strengthening ourselves from within.
Yeah, it's more about amplifying the light rather than battling the darkness. And remember that idea of becoming the creator. Ross suggests that the more we align with that, with our true nature as beings of love and light, the less susceptible we are to these negative influences.
So it's all about raising our vibration. And that helps us on a personal level, and it also helps the planet as a whole.
Exactly. And Ra also talks about the importance of group harmony, especially for those who are working for the good of all.
So if we can join together with like-minded people, that amplifies the positive energy even more.
That's the idea. When we come together with a shared intention of creating a more loving and peaceful world, we create a powerful force for good.
That's inspiring. So it's not just about individual effort, it's about collective action.
Right. We're all in this together.
Well, this has been quite a journey. I feel like I've learned so much about the Law of One and really about myself. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
Well, I think the most important message from Ra is that the journey to global harmony really does start within each of us. By cultivating love and compassion and forgiveness, we become beacons of light, illuminating the path for others.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. This has been an incredible deep dive.
My pleasure. May you go forth rejoicing in the power and peace of the one infinite creator.
And to all of our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration. Remember, you are powerful beyond measure. Keep shining your light.